Let's have a look adding and subtracting fractions where we've got different denominators, but here we're dealing with mixed fractions. So we've still got that same idea that we need to have we need to make the denominators the same, and we're going to do that using our equivalent fractions ideas. So here I've got 1.5 plus 3 3/4. So what I need to do is I can deal with the pieces separately. So I've got whole numbers, so 1.5 is the same as 1 plus a half. 3 3/4 is the same as 3 plus 3/4. Okay, so now I can simply add the whole numbers. 1 plus 3 is 4. And so what I've got left is I've now got a half plus 3/4. And that's what I need to combine together. So I need to make those denominators the same. So in order to do that, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to think about 2 and 4, what's the lowest common multiple? And the lowest common multiple would be 4. So I'm going to change them both into fractions with 4 as the denominator. So I'm going to leave my 3/4 alone, but I'm going to change the half to quarters. So I need to multiply 2 by 2 to get an answer of 4, and therefore I'm going to multiply 2 on the top line. So that's going to give me 2/4 plus 3/4, and that's the same as 5/4. Now I need to turn that into a mixed fraction, because the question was given as a mixed fraction. I've got to turn this back into that. So 5/4 is the same as 1 whole and 1/4. Alright, so diagrammatically, that's thinking about, right, I've got quarters, and I've got 5 quarters, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 quarters. So that is 1 whole plus 1/4. So that's what I'm going to have here is 4 plus 1 and 1/4, which is going to give me 5 and 1/4. What if I was subtracting? And if this one's a bit more tricky, so I want you to just listen carefully when I go through this one. I'm going to do this one in a slightly different way. What I'm going to do now is turn them straight into improper fractions. So remember, with improper fractions, I want to take 5 1/4 and turn that into some number of quarters. So in each of those wholes, I'm splitting them into quarters, and so there's 4 pieces. So I've got 5 wholes, 4 quarters, so that's 5 times 4 is 20, plus 1 is 21. Then, then I'm going to turn these 8s, 2 and 5/8, into a whole number of 8s as well. So 2 times 8 is 16, plus the 5 is 21. Okay. Now that I've got it in that improper form, now I need to think about how do I subtract these two. And in order to do that, I need the same denominator. So think about lowest common multiple of 4 and 8, and the lowest common multiple will be 8. So I'm going to leave this as 21/8, but I'm going to change these quarters into 8. So 4 times what equals 8? 4 times 2. And so I need to multiply the top line by 2 as well. So 21 times 2 is 42/8. Now that the denominator is the same, I can subtract the top line. And that's going to give me 21/8. Now because the question wrote it as a mixed fraction, I need to turn it back into that fraction. So think about your 8 times tables. 8 times 1 is 8, 8 times 2 is 16, 8 times 3 is 24. So we know we've got 2 wholes, okay, because 21 is more than 16. And from 21 to 16, there's 5 pieces left over. So 2 and 5/8.